Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
And Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
What's up, Delora? It is a new week and a new recap. How you feeling? How you living?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited for this project.
Yes. We talked about it at the end of our episode last week. This has been a long time coming throwback film. We have been talking about one of our collective favorites, throwing it back to 2006, a rom-com in my favorite rom-com city, LA, at that. It is something new, guys. It is currently available to stream on Prime, so feel free to check it out there. Or if you're like me and Delora, go ahead and bust out that hard copy DVD and enjoy.
Exactly.
Quick summary for those who are not in the loop on this film. Welcome. An accountant finds love in the most unexpected place when she agrees to go on a blind date with a sexy and free-spirited landscaper. Director Sanaa, two Sanaas for one, Hamri.
Mm-hmm.
Cast. We have Sanaa Lathan as Kenya, Simon Baker as Brian, Blair Underwood as Mark, Alfre Woodard as Joyce McQueen, Earl Billings as Dr. McQueen, Donald Faison as Nelson, Taraji P. Henson as Nidra, Wendy Raquel Robinson as Cheryl, Golden Brooks as Suzette, and Mike Epps as Walter. I just have to take a pause for all this Black excellence that found itself in this film.
I was like, her friend group alone.
Yes.
I mean, what?
Her mama is Alfre Woodard. Her bestie is Taraji. Like, get out of here. I didn't even remember until I saw it again.
I was gagged. I was like, all three of them? Like, yes,
Mike Epps
please.
Playing a supportive character.
Yes.
Blair Underwood playing. I'm like, y'all really brought out a cast in this. So, love to see it.
It brought me joy.
All right, reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, 60% critic score, 72% audience score, and 69% of Google users gave this film a thumbs up. Delora, what is your grade for Something New?
Ashley, this is one of my favorite movies. I always talk about being a romance girly. This is definitely in my top 3 of favorite romance movies. I actually was chuckling to myself because, like, we've done our favorite movies on the podcast back to back. And because we have so many favorite movies, we have them. I know for me, I have them in different genres. I was like, man, I probably should have picked this one over The Departed because, like, I didn't realize how problematic it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we even talked about that in that podcast. But I remember when I first saw it, it's so funny how culture changed. When we were growing up, the male gaze was very real and it was very, like, toxic when you look at it these days. And obviously they're trying to reinstate it in real life. But movies like this, made by women, starring women, and as you mentioned, the Black excellence, this was done so well and so beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's lovely. It's gentle. It's sweet. I love this film. It is interesting watching it now as a grown-ass woman compared to I was in college when this first came out. I have thoughts, but love. And it makes me sad that the writer hasn't written anything else really after this film. So those are my thoughts, Ashley.
Okay. Well, I definitely agree that this is a highly rated rom-com for me. It's one of those just feel good. And when I think about it, it's actually one of the first black rom-coms I could think of absorbing that really tackled issues of race because like
Yes.
my favorite film that we recap was The Bodyguard, which stands and
Yes.
holds forever. And that was a black woman and white man, but race was not discussed. It wasn't a thing whatsoever in that movie. This was just a man and a woman
Yeah.
who happened to fall for each other. Whereas this feels realistic for
Yes.
the era, for the realities of like your day to day, for some of the struggles you would possibly deal with stepping outside of your comfort zone in this way, stepping outside of your culture, and the challenges you might face, right? So for that, I appreciated this film. I mean, Sanaa Lathan was in her bag when this movie came out.
Yes. And she's so
And
gorgeous. Like,
yeah,
oh,
I fell in love with art, landscape architecture because of this film.
yes.
So many
Simon, this was a
things.
breakout role for me for him.
Oh yeah, he's
Um,
such a cutie too. It's
yeah,
like,
and
girl,
oh,
if you gon' go down this path, you're none too shabby, okay? None too shabby. All right.
exactly.
All right, let's get into it. Spoiler alert for anybody who has not seen this throwback recap of something new. Again, feel free to check this movie out currently on Prime if you are a subscriber. So, this opening montage we start the film with is of our leading lady, Kenya, played by Sanaa Lathan, and she's getting married, but has a very abrupt end to her dream because of her alarm clock going off. Was this a sign of anything to you that we start with Valentine's Day and her dreaming about a faux wedding while she awakes to being single and alone?
I honestly really focus more on the Valentine's Day and the conversation around that more than actual wedding. I think, if anything, obviously, it's foreshadowing to an extent. And yeah, I think I was more intrigued by the fact that they started off on Valentine's Day. I'm like, well, definitely love this type of conversation.
If you didn't know it was a rom-com, there you go, right? And again, she's single, but she may not necessarily be excited to mingle because we see her in her morning routine and she, first of all, who wakes up at 6:05?
I do.
Why 6:05? Why not 6?
Oh, I'm good for a 5, 10, 15. Yeah.
But not 6:15, 6:05.
I've done it all, Ashley. I'm telling you.
Wow. Well, there you go. Y'all got me. I mean, right now I do
Well,
7:15 or 6:45 is more realistic right now. But
so for me, I have one of those alarm clocks that have the artificial sunrise. And if I do it at 6:05, that means it'll start rising at 6 o'clock. So it'll reach its peak at 6:05. Yeah.
fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Fascinating. Learn something new about you every episode. But
Oh yeah,
going
Hitch Sleep. Shout out to our future sponsor here. Okay.
speak it into existence, Delora. Speaking of again her being single and not necessarily ready to mingle, when she gets to work, she has a coworker, Leah, who she seems cool with, who is engaged and is planning her wedding. And she's offering to set Kenya up on a date. And Kenya's like, I don't do blind dates. Is this a rule that you adhered to, Delora, during your single days, that you didn't do blind dates?
No, but Kenya had a lot of rules. And I mean, I technically have rules too, but I don't know. It was hard to keep up with Kenya.
She said she didn't do the color red. I've never
Well,
heard of someone saying they don't necessarily do a color. Like again, I'm a very neutral tone dresser, but I still like the color red.
when she said, my mom said colors are for children and
And
whores.
whores.
It took me out. I mean, every time, even in this rewatch, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. Something the lessons that are ingrained in us via our parents, that's for sure. So despite this, what I loved about this film is that, Kenya is thriving, right? She is thriving in her career. She's an accountant, senior manager, up for partner at her firm. When we get really into the thick of this, she just bought a new home that she's really excited about. Like, she's thriving, she's doing her thing. Unfortunately, though, she starts to put up with, you know, microaggressions and racism, where she had a client who, racism probably and sexism, client who, when she came in and sat down, assumed they were waiting on someone else to join the meeting. Couldn't just be
Yep.
Kenya.
Yep.
Did you relate to this moment
I
in the
understood that
workplace?
moment very well. I haven't had anyone do anything blatant like that to me, but I completely understand the like, oh, where's the manager? And it's like, me. You know what I mean? But it's so funny watching this film today. I loved it because she and her friend group remind me of me and my friend group. We are Black women doing our own thing and thriving. But it also saddened me because I know, um, like the ladies in the movie, you know, they did all the steps. They got the education, they got the jobs, and all this, that, and the other. But we live in a time now where what they say 300,000 Black women are no longer employed because of all the things that are going on, um, within our government and our political landscape. And I'm just like, do you know, when Black women are empowered, the economy is to everyone's benefit? Like, so I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but these are all the thoughts that were going through my mind while watching uh this beloved film.
Yeah, it's been 19 years. Things look a little bit different, for sure. But to your point, when Kenya, because it's Valentine's Day, decided to do really kind of Galentine's Day and have a date set up with her and her girlfriends. This conversation has had, right, about 47% of Black women haven't been married. And it's the highest percentage is those who are educated and, doing well in their careers and all this and that. The fact that they were a pediatrician, an accountant, a banker, and a lawyer or judge, I think actually a judge, I was like, oh, that's an elite circle indeed.
Yeah, especially with the judge. I was like, "Ooh, I need one of
Girl,
those on my
please.
rates."
I still need, just give me a lawyer and an accountant. Those are the two that would be
Yep.
great to have in the crew. But what did you think of this conversation about an IBM, an ideal Black man? Do a lot of Black women hold on to this IBM fantasy?
Absolutely. I know I did. I know my girlfriends did. And you know, it's real, it exists. Um yeah, that's all I'll say for now about it.
I just had this conversation with two of my girlfriends on an outing for dinner recently. Because I think I just brought up, and we talked about multiple things, but I just brought up the fact that when I look at my friend group, I have more male friends right now who are married than my female friends.
Yeah,
And I think one of the things that a lot of my female friends still don't really seem that open to is other options outside of their IBM still. And I'm like, well, are you ever like, is there a chance? So, I'm throwing out things. I'm like, well, what about this? What do you think about this? And da 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 da. And they would date a man who wears Birkenstocks, which I wouldn't necessarily because I don't want,
Not
that's not my ministry.
Birkenstocks.
But there are other factors that you still don't want to consider. And so I think stuff like that can be limiting when you look at the grand scheme
Yeah.
of availability and what's out
Hmm.
there. And it's something to consider, I would say, for sure, because especially when you look around and you're getting older and there are less and less options, expanding your horizons may be necessary.
Absolutely. I know when I was meeting my now husband, all the guys that I would have considered, they weren't even thinking about any type of long-term relationship. If anything, a lot of them didn't even get married till more recently, you know what I mean? And I know for me and what my thoughts were for my life, I didn't want that. You know what I mean? I would also say I obviously had an IBM, but what I ultimately realized is I had a list, but I never put the color on it. And that's something that really opened my eyes when I started dating my husband. I was like, oh, I want somebody who's, obviously kind and who's like obsessed with me. I'm just playing. No, I'm joking. In
Why
the
you
best
so
way.
obsessed with
In the
me?
best
But
way.
I wanna
But you understand what I
know.
mean? Like someone who is,
Loves
a
and
good
cherishes
person.
you.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I didn't put height and I didn't put color, but I did do a lot of other attributes that I do believe my husband possessed. So that was an aha moment, like I would say several years ago. But I think it's important to know what you want in a person and not, 6'5" Wall Street broker, whatever. You know what I mean?
Has to make six figures.
Has to be 6'5" and above.
Yeah.
Um, I
Six
don't know what
five
those
is
men.
crazy.
Ashley, I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Six
Where
five
are
is
they? I don't even
crazy.
have that many. I don't even have maybe one or two people at my current job that might be that tall. It's not a normal height. But I say all that to say, I do think there is value in knowing what you want. I think going for particular jobs and stuff, I think it gets kind of tricky because I feel like what type of lifestyle you want to have. You know what I mean?
And I also think that, I've never been a list person. Like, I've really fallen for an individual. And what has been a part of that journey for me is realizing that even if you have a list, it's really just going to come down to the connection between you and
Yes.
that other individual. There are
Yeah.
always going to be things that don't align necessarily, but what's the bigger picture? To your point, what is the factors that make you feel loved and cherished within that relationship, and that it can go the distance, because that's the hope, right? Is you're not just gonna
Especially
fall for
when you're
somebody because of their wallet and their
procreating
looks.
with a person. And this one young lady said it best. It's like you want a guy with a lot of money, but you what you want is someone who is generous, right? Generous with their time and their money and their and themselves. Because I would never forget, there was this popular football player. He was so fine and he had this long-term girlfriend, and I think he did Cribs, MTV Cribs, and you found out that he and his girlfriend cleaning his big ass house. They don't have any maid serve. They don't have any maids or cooks or nothing like that. So it's like, I'm like, why did you get a house that big? Like, if you know what I mean? It's okay to have a
Keeping
regular
up with
house,
a
sir.
lifestyle. Yeah, trying to keep up with a
Exactly.
lifestyle.
So,
Yeah, I think going back to the movie, this whole concept is very real, and I love the idea of having the openness to let life surprise you, because you
yes,
just
so
never know.
important. It's
Yeah,
so important. And it makes life delicious.
it's a great word. So, this combo did inspire Kenya to step outside of her comfort zone and go ahead and go on this blind date. She went to the blackest Starbucks I've ever seen.
In my life.
I mean, there
I've
was a
never seen so
whole
many Black people.
hangout in the front of the Starbucks I ain't never seen.
I'm like, well, you remember Shaq regrets for not investing in the Starbucks. He was like, Black folks drink coffee. Magic invested. That's why that comment was like, is Magic treating you good? He's like, never met him.
Yeah, he ain't got that magic money. But um yeah, it was the blackest Starbucks I've definitely ever seen. Product of, I think, the neighborhood she lives in too, which seemed like a very
Yes.
predominant, I don't know if it was Baldwin Hills, somewhere like that, that, that was gonna be the norm. But here comes old Brian, and Brian ain't black, baby. She was so confused and so caught off guard, and her reaction, that was such good acting because her reaction felt so genuine, of like the chuckle and like, oh shit, how am I going to get out of this? My question when I watched it this time was like, Leah is white, right? So like my default would be
It
to
was gonna be a
think
white
he's
dude
gonna be white. Not, I would be
because
more shocked if it was a black man that rolled up.
Leah was giving, I have Black friends, but you are her Black friend because you work with her. Like,
She had a little sauce, but Leah still, we know that, look at her husband, who she about to marry. Leah's rolling in the circle she rolls in. She ain't coming to
exactly.
Crenshaw and hanging with y'all
Not at all. Not at all. But
regularly.
yeah, Brian is he was just so like sweet. He was very self-aware though. And
And
I
I
appreciate that.
loved that too.
Yes.
I
It
literally have
tickled
that in
me
my notes. I said she was very uncomfortable and he clocked it immediately. And I enjoyed that about him.
because that means he's in tune to her.
And not just in
Um,
tune, but like honest. Like I can
yes.
tell it doesn't seem like this is what you're expecting. You good or
Yep. Yep. But can we talk about how she was able to cut down a man in 5 seconds flat just from it was the nail for me. I was like, if I'm not Kenya, I don't know who else is because I was the same way. I was like, men with long nails is like one of my biggest pet beef of all time. I'm like, maybe because my dad was like old school, he, like you're not working hard enough if you got long.
but the thing is it was the one long pinky,
Oh yes,
the one long pinky. You're talking about right before they went in, guys. If you're still following us with the sequence of the movie, Dolores talking about right before she goes into the Starbucks when she encounters the guy, the doctor that she knows, and his whole little friend group outside. It sounded like she knew his partner too, which made them googly eyes after her afterwards just so gross. It's like, yo, what was her name? Wherever her name was, where's she at?
right,
Because you don't know how to act in public, obviously, when she's not around, and neither does any of your little friends. So
exactly.
you can tell she was trying to avoid having that conversation in the first place. That was one thing consistently about Kenya. It felt like everybody was bothering her. She made the
She
same
was
face when Leah talked to her in the office. Like she always seemed like everybody is bothering her.
well, she was also a focused woman, right?
Sure. She had a lot of work to do.
Yep.
Always had a lot of work to do. She gave Brian all but about 2 minutes of her time before she bounced.
The way she was like, well, time for me to go. Ah, I I was disappointed. I was like, girl, you couldn't finish your coffee? Like,
You couldn't even just have a conversation. Like, even if it's not a love match, I've gone on dates where I know immediately, like, yeah, this ain't a love match, but I've never just up and left because of that. It'll just be like, yo, let's go ahead and have a combo. I mean, you chat with your coworkers. You could chat with this man for a little minute and, send him on his merry way.
but her uneasiness was palpable though. And it was
Because she's in
just
the
like,
blackest Starbucks in America.
of all time, truly. And She didn't want to seem like she wasn't down. The fact that Brian even knew what down was had me cackling. I'm like, sir,
This ain't his
yes,
first black woman, is the moral of that
obviously.
story.
Yep.
Well, she goes to her coworker Leah's engagement party, and Kay, surprise, surprise, she's over here fawning over the landscaping at the house. Good old Brian, who she thought was just an architect, turns out he's a landscape architect, and obviously has done a fantastic job. And even despite her rudeness, agreed to come look at her property and give her a opportunity for her for his business essentially. Do you
Mhm.
feel like he was diplomatic to do that, or did you sense maybe he was still interested?
That's a good question because part of me was like, I think he was still interested, but I also think he was kind. It was like it's kind of what they call forced proximity, right? Like you were uncomfortable at Starbucks. What if I'm, helping you out? You obviously like my work. I obviously think you're gorgeous. Let's let's find a different way, another way.
Yeah, because when he came over to the house to like look at things and stuff, he's like, yo, let me take you to a job I just finished. You know what I'm saying? Like, you obviously could have just showed her photos. Like, you want to spend time with this woman.
Yeah. What was so funny in the long list of things that Kenya did not do, spontaneity was one of them.
Not in all that beige. No.
The way she looked horrified, she was like, "You mean like now?"
Like, I don't you see me in here working? My girl, I don't even think I saw her slip on a pair of jeans in her own home. Not a sweat, nothing. She was in khakis.
I wear house clothes at home. Okay. That's
She
a
was wearing
legging,
scarves around her neck on a Saturday.
an old pajama bottom with snowflakes on them. Like
We comfy. We gonna be comfy in the house.
the
Even
bra
if you
is
have to
off.
work from home,
Exactly.
we gonna be unless I'm on a client call. Why am I dressed? Why am I dressed up? But Kenya's brother, Nelson,
A
stops by
mess.
the house and further shames her about, first of all, going on a blind date. He said, my sister is not that desperate. And then, God forbid, it's with a white man, right? And yet,
Mm-hmm.
does Nelson have room to talk? Because the woman we see him with this time is not going to be the woman we see him with next time. Is not going to be the woman we see him with next time. And then the time after that. So, like, I get the sense that you can't take Nelson's love advice very seriously.
I don't think he took anything seriously. He was giving little brother very, very hard. You know what I mean?
This was a
And
departure for me for Donald Faison, too. He's never been bougie that I
even
can
in,
recall.
he went to a rich school in Clueless.
He didn't feel this, though. Like, he felt way more at like normal at ease than in this, where he called Brian the help. Like,
I
that
didn't
was
like
not
that.
Murray's character in Clueless. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
At all.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because, bougie black culture is real, and I don't
Yeah.
know much about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we just recently started talking about Oak Bluffs in Martha's Vineyard. And so I'm like, oh, this is a whole nother level. You know what I mean? Calling people the help. Excuse me.
Like,
But it's giving mother influence though, for sure.
he really was like not about to acknowledge Brian and like barely hit his hand and stuff. I was like, "Oh, okay. That's I mean, it's a role reversal, which is interesting, but at the same time, that was definitely rude."
But to um my point again, it's definitely the mother because I'm like the father, he's like, I'm a doctor, but I worked hard to be a doctor. Like,
Yeah, like when we go to the full family outing that they have, you definitely could sense that the character of Joyce, Alfred Woodard's character, is um a trip. I don't know how else to say it. She's a trip. And she had a
Exactly.
heavy influence on her children and the people that they have become. And very pronounced, obviously, in Kenya as well. But what do you think of this dance performance that they went and saw? Because that felt hella uncomfortable to me to be witnessing sitting next to your brother and your mother.
Well, I was like, is this supposed to simulate,
Yeah,
love
it
making?
felt like it.
It did. I don't know. Would I see it with my family? Maybe not my family. No, but I would watch a performance like that for sure. Um I think the reason why it was also interesting is because you can tell you finally got a chance to crack the shell on Kenya and understand that she actually does long for intimacy and connection. She's not
Hmm.
as, you know,
Buttoned up.
as we think she is.
Yeah, that's a great point. Definitely a great point. It's also, it was very black, right? So again, it's like she's
Yes.
very ingrained in a black experience.
Yes. But shout out to those dancers' bodies though. I'm like, body yada yada.
Built, built. Brian was getting comfy in his time with Kenya, and she even admitted that they were having a good time. They have a little chat, and he said he dates all kind of girls, wearing her ass down. She even started reading a version of Charlotte's Web that he gifted her after she had a freak out, a meltdown over a spider web at a community garden that he took her to.
That was stinking adorable. I was like, he gave her a book. It was so funny and cute. I loved it. I loved it.
Where are these men that give you random gifts at work because an event happened? You know what I mean? Like I haven't
You
I
wait, did
haven't
I
met
not
one
tell
of
you?
those
Did I
yet.
tell you when David and I were dating, he made a scrap boot for our first year anniversary?
That's so sweet. And let me be clear. I've dated men who gift and all these things. I just mean it's an extra level of
Yes,
thoughtfulness.
thoughtfulness. Yes. I had never made a scrapbook for nobody. Okay. So for me, I was like, wow, you took the time to do this.
You know, there's men who like I guess somehow know that they've met the one real early and will keep mementos from the time they meet you and use that for like their engagement. Like
Yeah.
I've had guy friends who are like, I have every movie stub from every movie that we ever saw, and I use that as a part of my proposal and this and that. I'm like, how did y'all really just when y'all know? Because what do you mean?
Crazy.
That stub would have been in the trash at the movie theater.
Not the trash.
Like, good for y'all, though, man. Good for y'all. So, Brian takes her hiking. Again, a no no for her. My girl had on khakis. She definitely needed to loosen up and live a little because it felt like Kenya was so focused that she was missing out on her own life in this movie. And so you could see her starting to unwind as she got a little bit more comfortable, started having a little bit more fun. We had the sacred don't get my hair wet moment when it started raining. I thought maybe she was gonna go off, she's gonna pop off, but it turned into a little romantic scene under the tree and their first kiss. Seemed like she regretted it immediately. She gets up, they go back. She tells him in the car, like, yo, this is never happening again. Cue one of the sexiest scenes I've
Love it.
seen in a
Love
rom
it.
com. My guy knocked on that door, came in there and said, girl, bye. Let me put
Yeah.
you on up against this wall because it's going down. Brian.
I love this movie so much. It was so funny because we recapped my Oxford year last week and we were just talking about the lack of chemistry. This
Girl.
right here was palpable. Even just all the scenes in this movie where there was just, them coming together, I loved so much because it was done so well. Done so well.
You took the words out of my mouth about this compared to my Oxford year. I literally have in my notes, it was HOT hot. That is chemistry.
Yep.
Woo! I had to look away from the TV. I've told y'all many times before, like I be
You
feeling
cracked me up.
awkward when I see people, but I had to look because it's just too intense. I have to like, woo, I'm gonna let y'all have y'all moment. Y'all do y'all thing. The way Brian grabbed up on her, I said, oh my
He
God.
grabbed that booty so quickly.
Girl.
He been thinking about it. You can tell. I'm like, he went straight for it. Oh my gosh. I loved it. It was done so well.
Simon, 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 do your thing, sir.
And you know what was so disappointing? He did such a great job in this role just to be like a douchebag in the biggest
Devil Wears
movie,
Prada.
The Devil Wears Prada. And I was excited because I was like, oh, this is a big movie for him. Like, because at that point, he was still the cute guy from Australia, Devil Wears Prada. He was such a jerk. I wonder if he's going to show up again. And
I don't know. I mean, I didn't. Adrian wasn't great either, so she didn't really have good luck on that front in that film. But
yeah,
the next morning ended up not going as smoothly as one would hope. Kenya flips out when Brian asks her if she can take her weave off. Essentially, dumped him, fired him on the spot. Did she overreact? Was this an overreaction?
So, Ashley, watching this film for this recap, what I didn't remember after watching this movie a million times, however many years ago, is I really didn't like how she treated him. And it's not, favoring him because he's the man or anything like that. But in reverse, if he had treated her so hot and cold like that, we would have been fighting. You know what I mean?
We were like, you flip flopping ass.
And nobody wants a man like that. I mean, obviously, women can get away with it because, again, he's essentially chasing her, right? Metaphorically, like, so he's like, okay, we're doing this again. We're doing this again. We can make this work. She just needs to be literally inched out of her shell. But I hate how many times she fired this man in this movie. It gave me the ick.
It was definitely a big reaction. Like, I get feeling somewhat like offended by it and being like, yo, chill. Like, the one thing we're not going to do is you're not going to tell me how to wear my hair or, something. But she definitely overreacted. And to your point, I mean, she was rude. So I feel like it was a bit of buyer's remorse at the end of the day. Like, you already bought it. So you might as well, go ahead and continue to enjoy it the way that her friends encouraged her to.
Speaking of like being wishy-washy, what did she then do, right? She's like, oh, we kissed, we never do it again. He knocks on the door. Let's him in.
Girl, let's get it on.
I can't believe you asked me about my hair. And then what did she do?
Goes on to the hairdresser.
So she also was giving very mixed signals too. Which, I'm like, girl, make up your mind.
I think one thing I'll say about that though is I felt like it was showing room for her to grow and not be so stuck in her ways. Like, I don't take her as somebody who usually is easily influenced.
Right.
But it feels like right now she is open.
Got it.
And that's good.
Got it. And to be fair, asking a woman back in 2006 about her hair was crazy. It really was. Asking about hair now is a lot different, right? Because I do feel like we have a better relationship with our hair, at least me and my girlfriends who've done whatever they needed to do. Obviously, Black women can do their hair however they want.
Yep.
But I understood the panic of getting my hair wet back in the day. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The standard was the weave and
the cost. It's cost.
Girl.
that
Yes.
goes into why we don't want our hair to get messed up. This it should be expensive.
It's not even the price. It's the price and the time it
And the
takes.
time, honey. Absolutely. To your point, though, she does go to the hairdresser, takes out her straight weave, puts in a curly weave, but we'll pretend that it is natural for the
You know
sake
what they
of
were
the
trying to
film.
do?
Yeah.
But again, back in the day, they were not ready for a 4C moment. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had to wait
Unfortunately.
until the last few years for her to do the whole shave it off. And yeah,
Yep.
that's a whole nother movie, guys. Um,
On Netflix.
he loved this obviously when he saw her and she decided, you know what, let's keep this thing going. This man started painting her toenails.
Ooh, that was one of my favorite scenes.
Well, again, you talk about sexy.
Oh my
Lord.
gosh. When he was
Brian.
just like putting his finger on her face, like I just he was like, "You're adorable." I'm like,
It
yes,
was it was hot, man. It was hot.
yep,
Kenya fell for it for sure, and even started letting this man's dog in her house. Dogs were a huge no. She ain't want that dog nowhere near her. Now all of a
yep.
sudden she playing kissy face with the dog in the car, and the dog is laying on the kitchen floor.
You know what?
Um,
I'd rather that than, him needing her car or paying his bills, even though she kind of is, right?
I don't know if she ever actually paid that man. When
I
you
don't
look
think
back
she
at the
did either.
movie,
No.
I don't think he ever accepted that check. He was getting his compensation in other ways. So Kenya is really, again, feeling Brian so much so they go on a double date with her girlfriend, played by
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, and her man, Walter, played by Mike Epps.
Yep.
When Walter and Brian have some time alone, Walter was coming at Brian a little bit, basically giving him the man talk and discussing, you do anything to her, you got to deal with that lady there and me. Do you think that Walter was too hard on Brian or was this fair game?
Brian is a grown ass man. If he can't handle a tough conversation, that's a him problem.
All
And
right.
shout out to Mike Epps' character. You know, unlike Terry Crews, you want the brothers to look out for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Especially because, like, he didn't have to. He's just the
Right.
boyfriend of one of her friends. That's not her brother. That's not one of her besties. That's not her, anybody else in her family. So the fact that he had her back, I guess, is really showing us, too, that he's a good one
Yes.
for her girlfriend
Yep.
because he
Even
cares.
though the way though they set him up was kind of wrong. She's like, why do I always end up with the ones with the can I help or what she said, the
Yeah, the uniforms or
the
the
uniforms.
name tags. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
But food
but
service, listen, my guy could be a full chef at some point.
a full
So,
chef, it could have been his catering company.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Exactly. That barbecue, though, that they go to after this, even more rough on good old Brian. Like, Brian can't catch a break in the culture. He goes up to a group of black men and asks about the black tax.
Ashley, let's pause really quick. I have never in my entire life said, you know what? That's the good old black text. I was like, what are they talking about? Obviously, I know the essence of what they're talking about,
Yeah.
but I
We
have
don't have the
never
verbiage. No.
had those words or, oh, those white men on the plantation today. I have never, because one, I would never want to call my workplace a plantation. Lord, no. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I'm not going to speak that into existence. But I thought it was very interesting how they wanted to prove that particular point.
Yeah, I agree that I have never used that verbiage either, but point taken of these in the house conversations that
Yes.
Brian is trying to involve himself in that he has no business involving himself in. Like, that's a time to be quiet and be a
Yes,
bystander and just listen, because
that
that is
part.
not, you can't relate, baby. You can't relate.
Nope.
Nelson invited his mentor, played by the Blair Underwood, aka
Yep.
Mark, to set Kenya up with. Now, this is in this life, her IBM, right?
Yes.
Successful, driven, also on the partner track, handsome, single, not crazy, doing his thing,
Yeah. Not married.
looking for a long term thing, not trying to play around with her. So he asked her to help him look for houses, and she's like, I'll get back to you. She's doing her thing with Brian right now. But Kenya and Brian get into a heated disagreement at the grocery store because
Ooh, it was
Brian,
ugly.
he's tired of hearing Kenya vent about, to your point, the plantation and the white men at work. He was like, I would just like a night off. She said, I am black. I don't get a night off, bro.
Period.
Did you take a side in their disagreement?
Oh, obviously hers. I mean, in that, to the main point of that conversation, there's no days off, there's no nights off. If you can't have this conversation with me, then we need to reevaluate what exactly we're doing. I have always been a huge proponent. If you are with somebody who is not of the same quote unquote race, y'all need to have difficult conversations early, and I wouldn't say often, but just like I'm gonna need for you to know how I feel about things and not get your panties in a bunch, and or gaslight me in a way that says, oh, did that really happen? Because when I tell you so many interracial relationships did not make it after the pandemic, courtesy of the briefly racial reckoning in America, I was like, how are y'all out here having 5 babies, been together for 6 years, and never had a race conversation? And honestly, it was a lot of the black man, white woman pairing situation that I observed. I don't know that to be the case, but all the women I knew who had white men, black women, white men, I'm like, this was date two. Like, and honestly, that again, I was like, obviously our kids are going to be able to say, identify themselves as the way they want to be identified, but depending on how they come out, people are going to identify them as black. Are you okay with that? You know what I mean? Like
Not
asking
only
these
are you
type of
okay with that, how
questions.
you gonna protect my children?
Exactly.
How you gonna protect my
What are your thoughts
children?
about the talk, and the talk as in when dealing with law enforcement as a black person in this country, you know what I mean? So um I was on her side. I think it would have been nice though if she, I don't think Brian had the words to really articulate how he was feeling in a way that, like, this was new to him and she was having a hard day. But I would have liked to see Kenya care about him sometimes.
Hmm.
Because I do feel like Kenya is such a strong personality, full of, you know, hard nose, and her idea of things. I don't think I don't think she took the time to hear him out, and I think because of that, he ended up putting his foot in his mouth.
That is fair. Kenya definitely is not only a main character, but has main character energy.
Major.
She is the star of her show. And I do think that was blinding a bit when you think about her relationships with other people in the movie. Like I said, I got the sense a lot that it felt like everybody was always bothering Kenya. Like
Mm-hmm.
she always had a
Mm-hmm.
slight eye roll for everybody.
Yep.
But this would have absolutely been a deal breaker for me with Brian. Like if I
Yes.
can't show up as
Yes.
my full self every day and relay the things I'm going through, you can choose how you want to respond to it sometimes. Like, but it wouldn't be this. Like, maybe you need to excuse yourself because you're also having a hard day. You're like, yo, I'm just not in the headspace to really, I've had a tough day too. I just probably need to like go home and like deal with myself because I'm not feeling the best. Like, I think they both needed better communication skills in that moment. And yes, we're all human. It happens. But because of the disparities of race in this situation, me and Brian would have had to go our separate ways. Like,
Oh,
this would have been a
yes.
bridge that I can't reconcile. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, okay, well, I guess I should go back over here. You should go on back over there because it ain't gonna work for me, boo. But because of this,
Especially coming from a straight, handsome white man. I'm like, you have no idea.
yeah,
You have no clue.
you walk in these shoes for one day and get back to me. But because of this, Kenya does kind of peace out and starts immediately seeing Mark. She goes with him to look for this house. She goes out to dinner with him. And again, he is everything that she's been missing in Brian in the sense of seeing someone she has more in common with, right? They can talk about their work struggles. He's up for
Yeah.
partner. They
Yeah.
have a rapport, they have a ease, they have a commonality that she enjoys. Again, her IBM.
Yeah, but like for the house tour in particular, she just looked tired to me. Like when she was hanging out with her IBM, and honestly, their interactions felt dry to me.
And that's fair because Brian pops back up after being MIA for 2 weeks. He tells her he wants to make this work. He tells her he loves her. Seems like the first time. And Kenya hits him with, I've met somebody
The
else.
way she just keeps gutting this man, it's like that felt like a shank in particular because I'm like, could you just let him down easy and just let him,
Girl,
this
it's
man
been
told you.
2 weeks.
I know. No, I understand
No,
her
no, no. I
frustration.
mean to her. Like my it's only been 2 weeks. I could how do y'all I've always been shocked. This is a tangent at how quickly people can move on from significant things when it comes to like
Interesting.
love.
Mm,
Like, cause we know Sanaa was feeling him too. We know Kenya was feeling
absolutely.
him too. So girl, you're not over
Yes.
this man in 2 weeks.
No. But then again, it felt like she just rubbing salt in the wound. And he's like, he's black, he's everything you want. And she's like, yes, yes, he is.
But you know what I appreciate and respect about Simon? He said his piece once. You don't want him. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not gonna
will.
say nothing else. Enjoy your life.
Yep.
I'll see you later. That man has self-respect. Okay,
And then she had the nerve to bring up the money. He was like, keep the check.
girl. I don't want your little money. I'm good.
Uh,
I'm good. To your point about her interactions with her IBM being dry, she was utterly bored. No spark, no sizzle. Somebody to sit on the couch with her, laptop to laptop.
he was like, this is great. I'm like, for who? There is something to having like independent activities, but still have the intimacy of being with the person you like, right? Like, I get that in my relationship because sometimes I'll be reading a book and my husband's playing a video game. But doing work on a weekend, like, no, no, thank you.
I mean, if it's something you both enjoy, that's not even the biggest thing to me is like what makes life interesting is opportunities for exploration.
Yeah.
And there is none of that in this relationship because they're too similar, right? Like Kenya needed somebody who was different than her to spark her change in her
Mm,
life.
yeah.
He was just going through the motions outside of work.
But again, I love the writing in this story so much because one of the first things Brian tells her when they have like their first date after a long night, he's like, I make I take hard earth and make things bloom. And
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, gonna do that for Kenya. And
And
he
he looked at her
did.
and knew. It was a wink wink moment for
Yep.
all of us
Yep.
because we all knew. So she goes to Leah's wedding and Brian is there. He's back together with his ex. She has a full meltdown about this in the rabbi's room, wherever she was, in the back with her
Yeah.
friends. That's when you know, ma'am, like you love this man. You here with on the arm of this ideal black man, and you are freaking out, having a full meltdown because Brian is here with somebody else.
I always am annoyed in media when the person who breaks up with the person have the hard time. I'm like, I
But
need for
it's
you to have some
real. It
self-awareness here.
happens. It
You
happens.
shot yourself in the foot. This is what we call self-sabotaging. I felt like she was the queen of self-sabotaging throughout this freaking movie.
She thought she knew what was best, and she did not. Mark insinuates at a family dinner that he's considering proposing, and Kenya's like, oh, hell no. She had to
She's like,
kindly let that man go.
but it's also like, so we have never had this conversation, and you're telling this to my
They
parents?
haven't even slept together yet, we
I
realize.
know.
We had, I ain't never even touched you yet. And you talking about proposing possibly in 6 months? Her mom's reaction too. Oh
Oh,
my God. Oh my God. Alfred Woodard this is actually comedy. A lot
yeah,
of comedy from Alfred
yes,
Woodard in this film.
it was. But again, he checked off their boxes.
He
You know
checked
what I
off
mean?
everybody's boxes. Nelson was
But
ready to call him brother-in-law, you know?
now I can't get over that golfing scene where he's like, shake it up, shake it up. I'm like, if you don't get your hands off of me. And what's so crazy is Blair is everyone's IBO, right? So it's like,
Yes.
how is this possible? But I
Yes.
think this is really speaking to, chemistry matters.
Chemistry matters, adventure matters. Her heart had already been captured. I always go back to Sweet Home Alabama, Reese Witherspoon line. I gave my heart away. Let me say it right. I gave my heart away a long time ago and I never really got it back. That's one of my favorite rom-com
Yeah.
lines. Because ma'am, yes. Like, Blair didn't stand a chance in this scenario. So he's a
Mhm.
great black man. He's just not the one.
Not
So
Kenya's.
as we wrap up, Kenya makes partner at work, despise that. I said despise, despite the situation with that client who was trying to undermine her, really. And after a pep talk from her father, she runs out in her beautiful gown. She looked stunning.
I loved this dress however many years ago, and I still love that dress. It fit her perfectly.
Stunning, honey.
Loved it.
From the debutante ball, and she goes to get her man. So, Delora, here's what we got to talk about it a little bit. I said, listen, you have said this was your biggest gripe with Love and Basketball, and yet this is in your top 3 of rom-coms. Is it fair to say that this is a Sanaa Lathan trope as much as it is a Love and Basketball? This is the second film that Sanaa Lathan has gone to make the grand gesture to get
Yeah.
her man back.
So here's the deal. I do feel like, so when I watched it for this recap, I did pick up on that very quickly. I'm like, oh no, she's the one that went to the guy. What I will say is different is the following. One, Simon never was with another girl. You know what I mean? Putting it in her face.
No Tyra.
And no Tyra, right? And then two, I do feel like Kenya was in the wrong. And she needed to, make amends with him. Love and Basketball, I needed him groveling because he did her dirty. And I didn't get that satisfaction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Monica didn't mess up in your mind in Love and Basketball.
No.
That's fair. Okay. I just had to check. Audience, you let us know what you guys think, because I was
And
like,
again,
oh,
for many years,
okay.
I would say I hate the film. I hate the film. I actually don't hate the film. I love the film. The film is well made. It's just that that ending was so frustrating for me.
But Delora,
And
Double or Nothing.
oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's too funny. So in this film, it works. She gets that man to wear a borrowed little sombrero player's outfit, whatever that
Can I
was.
tell you? I still get secondhand embarrassment. Why she made this man do that? You know that's some love.
Yeah, that's some love. And I said sombrero player. Sombrero's a hat. Whatever that man was out there doing with that guitar.
Is that mariachi?
Mariachi, yeah. Borrowed his little outfit. She was bringing him there to make a statement. And that's
Yes, I
what I
know.
loved. She's like,
Yes,
y'all
yes,
gonna
yes,
accept us
yes.
whether y'all like it or not.
And I mean, the suit went hard in the right environment. You know what I mean? The colors were vibrant. It was well made.
Listen, it takes it back to her not doing red, and look what
Look
happens.
at that. That's a
Yeah.
great call out. I will also say, again, so well acted that like when Brian kisses her when they're dancing at the cotillion ball, he kisses her with his whole body. Like I just, oh, it's so good. It's so good.
That man enjoyed this role. I'll tell you that.
I mean,
Um,
Sanaa is
yeah.
gorgeous.
So we kind of have a full circle moment here at the end. She gets married to Brian in the backyard, surrounded by her friends and family. It is a beautiful moment and a great way to, like, in my opinion, cap off this rom com. Give us your final thoughts, Delora, on something new.
My final thoughts on something new. This movie brings me joy. It's actually been several years since I've watched it, so I'm so glad we got a chance to talk about it. Again, I just thought this film was so well written. It was so well directed. It was just so beautiful and lush. Some of the interesting conversations that I wanted to highlight was the whole conversation around prejudice versus preference.
Mm,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh man, they're really going for it. And again, speaking of Alfred Winter at her open house with the barbecue, she was like, you've gotten all bohemian. What has gotten into you? And then she looked at her, she's like, don't answer that. That took me out. But real talk, Brian is the type of guy that was like, yeah, I did it in India, girl. And I went to meet Mount Kilimanjaro and I met it. Like he's that type of free spirited person or whatever.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I appreciate the whole like opposites attract in that way between their dynamics and yeah, it was a good time. The white jokes though. What is Nia Long's sister's name? She was the comedian.
Some more?
Some more. I was like, I felt a little cringy though, just a little bit, because I was just like, oh my goodness, we're really going in. And on
When
the
she
white
said,
man.
"What'd you bring your probation officer?"
Yes. I was like, yo.
She's a comedian,
So
though. So it's all
yeah,
fair
it
game.
worked out. But I think what also worked about the relationship that I think is also worth mentioning, especially when we're talking about interracial relationships, is you need confident people to be in it. You know what I mean? Um, and not one that's looking necessarily to conform in a way that they lose themselves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen I've seen it always. I think it's always best when people are like, yep, this is me, and you are you, and I'm me. And like for her, it's not like she, you know, wanted to be Becky being with Ryan, right? She was a better Kenya.
Absolutely.
And I love to see that dynamic in this movie.
Absolutely. I don't really have much else to say. This is, again, a joy, a treat. I really enjoy this film. I'm glad we got a chance to finally recap it, watch it again with fresh eyes, talk about it. Excited to hear any thoughts you guys have if you watch this again. Let us know your thoughts. Looking forward to it. Thank you,
Yes,
Sanaa
yes.
Lathan. Thank you to the
Thank you.
cast. 'Twas one for the books. All right, let's move on to our hidden gems for the week. Delora, what you got?
Yes, Ashley. One of my favorite YouTube series is called House Guests. It is a series that was created and hosted by Scott Evans. You know him and love him from Access Hollywood. He has such great energy. He's so great. And he's had some of the best guests, from Kiki Palmer to Kevin on Stage to Niecy Nash to Tay Diggs to Rachel Lindsay. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so to celebrate the first year of his show, he did a special episode called House Party. And he had Tabitha Brown, Kev
Mhm.
on Stage, and Amber Riley all on the episode. And the way I cackle, I mean, it's always a good time because he has like these fun games that they play, but it's so black. It's so like literally the barbecue that everybody talks about. Various people can get invited to. This is the vibe that you get when watching this show. And it just brought me so much joy. I think one of my favorite questions, and I'm paraphrasing it because I don't know it exactly, but it's like Tabitha Brown got the question, like, you go to somebody's house, what's a red flag for you? And Amber Riley was like, if somebody got a cat. And everybody at the table was a collective, exactly, because
Mhm.
that was my answer too.
It was all of our answer. It was all of our
Every
answer.
black person I know is like, if you got a cat, I am not eating your food. God bless you. Okay. When you come to the potluck, make sure your stuff is store bought.
Don't even bring it. Don't even bring nothing. Don't worry about it.
I love the show. So proud of him. And I can't wait to see what he has in store. Oh, and one of my friends, he posted on his social media how much he loved the show. And he tagged Scott. He's like, where can I bring my plate? Where I just want to sit in the back and just, watch it and have my drink and have my kiki too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even have to participate.
Mhm.
And Scott reposted it on his stories because it's like, that's kind of how we all felt. Like,
There were celebrities commenting like, so like, where's my invite? Because this was a
exactly.
time. My favorite clip from that I saw was when he talked about he was trying to make guacamole and he went to the store and was like, where are the guacs? Ma'am, where are your guacs? I need your guacs. And the lady's like, what? Do you
Says
mean
she
avocado, baby?
like he said she took my hand.
She lovingly took my hand and took me over to the avocados.
But see, these are type of conversations that happen at the cookout, at the
Yeah.
house
And
party.
Scott, that would have absolutely been me at one point in life as well. So
He said
I
it
I
so
felt it in my soul.
confidently.
Yeah.
Where are the
Where
quacks?
are the guacs, ma'am? Y'all ain't got no guacs. Anyway, thank you for that.
Yes.
Love that as well. Shout out to Scott. He's an amazing interviewer.
Yes.
All right, my hidden gem. I have one this week. I caught this on Peacock randomly. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, based on the Judy Blume book. 11-year-old Margaret moves to a new town, starts to contemplate everything about life, friendship, and adolescence. Rachel McAdams is in this as her mother, Barbara. Love me some Rachel McAdams. Kathy Bates is in this as Margaret's grandmother. It is so cute. It's so interesting. It's set back in the 70s. So you get a chance to kind of see an experience that mirrors ours, but isn't exactly ours. So it keeps it interesting and fresh from that perspective as well. And it's just kind of a feel good coming of age story. And I've been in a time right now where I'm not trying to stress in my entertainment. So this is what I am gravitating towards. I want the feel good. I don't want any violence. I don't want anything crazy. Give me something I can sit back, relax, and smirk at on a Sunday afternoon, you know? And that's what Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret was. So thank you.
Absolutely.
I enjoyed this. It was very cute. Check it out on Peacock. That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us, for joining us for this episode. We appreciate you. Please share this out with everybody that you know. If you're a new listener, thank you for joining us. Longtime listeners and everybody in between, we love you so much. We will be back with headlines and hot topics. But in the meantime, as always, guys, be blessed.
Bye.